Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
What up, y'all? It's Joe Budden, here to talk about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to win real money while watching football. You can get up to 100 times your money.
Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Just download the Prize Picks app and use code SPOTIFY. That's code SPOTIFY on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play a $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Blame Me, your favorite podcast. And if we're not your favorite podcast,
lie to us.
Lie to us, exactly. And like, I can't even think of a podcast that's better than ours. Except all of the podcasts I have been guests on and all of the podcasters who have come and been guests on our podcast.
Of course.
And every other podcast that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. We are an advice podcast where we give you guessed it, advice. And no,
wow, what a revolutionary concept. An advice podcast that gives advice.
Never been done before. And you might be wondering,
Who are these disruptors?
Is it financial advice? Is it
mental health advice? Is it physical advice? Is it health advice? Is it?
Yeah, all of those.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of the above.
It is.
We give life-changing, wonderful, life-altering advice to professional unprofessionals. What we lack for in credentials, we make up for in opinions. Some people say opinions are like assholes. They're more like the pores in my skin or the hair on my head. I have a plenty. My name is Megan, and I'm joined by my co-host, producer, and the only reason this podcast exists, Melissa.
Hello.
You are the glue. I am the glitter. But you're also like glitter glue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like most glue you would not think can be like on-air talent.
True.
In the words that Kyle says, you got a face for the boom mic. It's his favorite fucking line. Goes on set one time, hears it. It's his favorite. Yeah, so if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail at 310-694-0976. And international listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. Just record us a voicemail. Let us know the worries, the quandars, the shit you're dealing with in your life that you need our help with, and we will do our best to help you. And in order to do our best, we need you to do your best. And that means writing down what you're going to say. Please write it down, practice, keep it under 3 minutes, and make sure you include all of the necessary information. And you can time yourself. So, you know, hey, I have some extra time. Let me make sure I have all these facts in there, or it's running over. Let me explain the fact that I'm a Libra. Good for you, but it's not usually instrumental in this. Also, let us know your pronouns. Make sure we know the ages of everybody involved. And if you be 18 or over, have your parents' permission to call in. Should we give the disclaimer? If you're not watching, which you can watch on Patreon, I feel like you can just sense by our eyes, maybe our looks, the cadence of how we speak. This is a podcast by two liberal women. So, Rachel, close your ear holes and go find the new Joe Rogan episode.
Ma'am, you're lost. Or the people that purposely came here as their destination. Do you like to torture yourself? I don't.
I just think like I enjoy a good hate watch. Like I live for that stuff. But like I'm a passive hate watcher because like I will say it's the most embarrassing part of my personality. I don't want anyone to know.
Podcast hate watching is a different level though.
I could never.
Hate listening. What if somebody bought the Patreon to hate watch us?
Oh, if you're going to, I would recommend it.
Me too.
It's actually $15 a month for you. Yeah, that's the spiel. What's new with you, Melissa?
I'm just enjoying life.
You're just living life. Your vibe right now is just living life. You are getting so many comments. I'm getting DMs of people who want me to tell you how good your hair looks. I just got one.
Thank you so much.
It's fire. It's so good. And hopefully by the time this episode is out, definitely, the beautiful photos I took of you will be on your
I
Instagram.
was planning to put them up today, but
That's
late.
That's a lot to do today.
I know.
Too much.
I know.
Much too much. I know. I was going to complain about, I still did complain about how I was like tired. And I was like, well, Melissa moved and she recorded before this. And I was just like packing. That's all I did.
So when I moved, I feel like we need a closing chapter to my nosy neighbor because it's over now. So I didn't tell her I was leaving because I knew
she would ask to be a pen pal.
It would be so annoying. So many questions. Not even pen pals. She would just have questions about my finances, I feel like. Because she's asked me how much I pay for rent more than once.
Ma'am, we live in the same building.
No, but I pay much more because she's been there for 25 years. And my place was renovated and hers wasn't. So the moving truck came up and one of the mover guys, all my movers were so cool. Nicest guys. One of them came in. He was like, yo, your neighbor is so nosy. And I was like, I already know who it is. And he said, she's asking if I'm moving you, which I didn't tell her, where you're moving to, why you're moving. And he was like, I couldn't tell. He said, I couldn't tell if she was Latino or not. So I didn't pretend like I only spoke Spanish. So I acted like I could only speak French. Which he's fluent in French. And then so later, when I came back to only my frozen things and not the things that had been thrown away, another story for another time, she yelled out her door, my name, and then asked me where I was going and why. And she was like, and your mover wouldn't tell me any information. If he had told you the information, I would have been angry.
Yeah. Ma'am.
She was mad. She was like, I didn't know if you were in there or not. Okay.
Nosiness like that is a disease.
Yeah.
Does she have a cat?
She has a dog.
And it's not enough.
A little yapper dog.
Oh, God. Nosy neighbors.
No more.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
And now I think maybe you'll just have the kind of nosy neighbors that I am, where I am a quietly nosy neighbor. Some hooligans will be on the street doing some weird shit. Moss and I we'll open our balcony and just like peer out there with our arms crossed. These people are our age, but we're like these kids. And I'm like, they are literally our age, like same, probably my age, not his. And we just quietly do that. Or like, you put an ear against a wall, but like never will nobody ever catch me snooping. And that's the kind of that's the kind of like nosy neighbor you want.
Today yesterday I met one neighbor. When I pulled up in my car, she was like, I like your princess car. So she's like, I used to have a white convertible. And so I already like her. And then another woman saw me when I left this morning and I had on the top that goes with these shorts, what I had on the last episode. And she was like, I really like your outfit. I really like the matching thing. So far.
Wow. That's more interactions I've ever had with my neighbors. I'm not even kidding.
They're a lot more friendly in that neighborhood. Like my other neighbors in my old neighborhood, when I would walk by, like no one said anything.
Yeah, that seems nice. The only time I had any conversation with one of my neighbors was during the pandemic, and we were like all taking groceries, and it was all like, groceries. Right. And then they wanted to clarify where we lived because they wanted to, talk shit about someone else on our street. And I was like, oh, we are ready to talk shit. Okay. Well, that's the life updates for us. I know that you all were dying to hear, except for the two people who hate when we talk about ourselves at the beginning of the podcast. It's not all about you guys. Well, it is. Okay. Well, we're going to get into our update. And quick little disclaimer for all of the anti-vaxxers. You need to leave before you get your feelings hurt. Okay?
Bye.
Goodbye. Or you're consenting to get your feelings hurt, in which case, shut the fuck up. So let's get into the update.
I called in just a couple episodes ago about my friend not telling me they were vaccinated while we were on vacation, which was super fun. And I guess I wanted to clarify like some stuff you guys brought up in the podcast, because I did not make that clear in my call at all. But basically, yes, my one friend did straight up lie to me like a couple months before and was like, yes, I am vaccinated. So I was like, oh, okay. And we were going, like, this vacation that we planned was not like, oh, let's go party in Vegas. Like, we were going to a remote area to just like enjoy the outdoors, but still like we were driving through some like pretty big cities and stuff. But that was like, he told me like, oh yeah, I'm vaccinated back in like June. And so I got home from school, like after finishing school, and like all summer was like told like, oh, okay, you're vaccinated. So all summer in my hometown, which is southern US, small town, no one's vaccinated, COVID's rampant vibes, that like he was vaccinated. So we were doing all these things, you know, at the time because Miss Delta hadn't like truly fully entered the chat to the extent that she has now. So that was like also really kind of disarming because I was like, well, I have been doing stuff with you all summer. So that happened. And I was clear with both of them before we left. I was like, we have to make sure we're careful. Like we still need to be wearing masks because at the time of the summer that we went, it was like, you know, Delta was trying to pick up. It was on our radar. We were like, okay, like we've all spent a lot of money. We're still going to go. We're going to a really remote area. Like we probably won't see that many people. I was like safer with it. If we'd gone anywhere else, I would have said, no, like we're not doing that, regardless of being vaccinated or not. So yeah, essentially what happened is they lied to me. I just like didn't really know what to say because I had a really hard summer. Like I had a really close family member pass away. My parent had to quit their job. Like I graduated college, then I moved across the US. Like it was just like one thing after another. So I was like, I really want vacation time to just vibe and not like worry about all that. So when this happened, I was like, well, shit, like I paid for this vacation. I don't want to ruin it, you know, and I also don't want to just like totally ruin one of my relationships with my really good friends out of just like pure anger. But essentially what happened in the moment is like my other friend that was with me like made a joke about not being vaccinated. And then before I could just like say anything, my friend who's not vaccinated didn't like, you know, we were sitting all down together and they told me and I was just like shocked. And then he just started going in like, well, you don't know what the data is like truly, like none of us really know. If we get it as a young person, we're probably going to be fine. And literally said like it's my choice at the end of the day. No one can take that away from me. Like just as much as like if you were to go and make a medical choice about like aborting a child, that would be like the same thing. And I was like, okay, no, but like that's also super disrespectful to even, that's just a non sequitur to like bring up in this conversation. So all of this stuff was hitting the fan and I just kind of sat there like shocked because I just didn't know what to say. So that's what happened in the original call. We went through vacation, you know, it was fine. And by the end of the week, like we were there for a couple of days. And by the end of the vacation, you know, we were all sitting outside eating somewhere and they were like, well, I'm glad we can joke about the vaccine stuff now. Like, I'm glad that you're cool with it. You haven't like thrown a bitch fit the whole week. And I'm like, okay, cute, nice. And I just didn't, again, I think didn't say anything, which was not a good response.
No, you're allowed to not say anything. You had a fucking rough year. You wanted a vacation and you are like 2 against 1. Like, not to sound aggressive, but like, don't beat yourself up about for like not saying things in the moment. And are these 2 men or 2 women?
Men.
Okay. Yeah. Do not beat yourself up at all about like not saying anything in the moment.
Right.
Sorry.
And
not to cut you off.
You were off somewhere secluded. You had no way of getting away. You were trying to keep the peace until you got home.
Yep.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I was just kind of like, oh, haha. Well, then we got back and I gave it like a week and I just didn't speak to either of them. And then I talked to my one friend because I was leaving a couple of weeks afterwards to move across the country to start a PhD in a natural science, which is the other reason that pissed me this off so much is that like, I'm going to get a PhD in natural science. Like, you know, damn well how I feel about all of this, you know, like you can't convince me. I'm sorry to be an asshole, but like, you cannot convince me otherwise of like vaccine efficacy. So I just kind of took a week and then I just called my friend and I was like, hey, like, I need to talk to you because they had asked me like, we need to hang out before you move. And this is like early August. So Delta was really starting to like pick up. And I was like, you know, I'm really going to be honest, like, I'm not comfortable with that. And I just kind of left it at that. And they were like, why? Is this because of the vaccine BS? And I was like, it's not BS. Clearly, we need to talk about this very like, and I'm not going to do it over text. Like, I need to speak to you in person over the phone about this. Like, we're not going to meet up, but like, I need to speak to you over the phone. And I basically called him and I was like, you know, I just feel really upset that you didn't let me like speak at all. Like, it was really disarming. And any other time that you would have been in that situation, like I know damn well you would have spoken up. And I really don't think that like we need to be seeing each other anymore. And of course he got really, really upset. He was like, well, I don't understand why you're so worried about it. Like you're vaccinated. What do you have to lose? And I was just kind of like, well, I have a lot to lose. I have an immunocompromised sibling. I have an older mom. Like I'm moving across the country in a few weeks. Like I do have a lot to lose. Not that the vaccine efficacy, isn't real because, against Delta and everything, but there's a higher chance now that I could potentially get it. So I do have a lot to lose. And I'm really shocked that you don't have a lot to lose. And so I just basically set a boundary of like, I'm not seeing you. Sorry, not sorry. If you're really that pressed about it, FaceTime me. Because at this point, I don't know what to do. He was kind of shocked in that sense because I was so done and so upset and so pissed that I just was very blunt after not saying anything this whole time. But I don't know. I guess like it's just been really hard because I've had so many friends and family members in my life who've had to do this to people. It still made me feel bad to like have to say that to one of my best friends. But luckily I set that boundary. We didn't see each other. We didn't talk. He actually ended up reaching back out and was like, I really respect the fact that you made that boundary, that you were willing to do that, even though initially you felt super uncomfortable doing that clearly because you didn't say anything to us. And I know it's really daunting to like bring this really contentious subject up. And even though like, I'm still not going to get vaccinated, whatever, he's like, I respect the fact that you are like willing to create those boundaries for yourself, and was really receptive and apologized profusely and all of that. So I guess like, I'm just really glad and proud of myself. And I hope to be able to encourage other people that like, it's hard. It is hard. Anytime you have to cut someone out of your life for whatever reason. You guys have talked about this a lot on the show too. Like It's hard. It's tricky. It's not like flipping off a light switch. Like for some people it is that easy. For others, it's not. But I just like hope to be able to illustrate a little bit that like, at the end of the day, it's your own health and safety on the line and the health and safety of other people. And if your friends refuse to see that, like, that's their loss. Like you've done all you can. And at the end of the day, you might even be garnering respect that you didn't realize you could by setting a boundary, which is really important. That's basically all that happened. Still not going to get vaccinated. And I said, well, cool. Until you do, we'll just keep talking over the phone. Like very cordial about it at that point because I got all my like pissed off energy out. Yeah, definitely appreciated you guys' help. And I feel really bad I didn't say all of that in the original call, like the whole situation.
Don't worry at all. I mean, everybody gets caught up on, like, we forget to say stuff in calls when we like listen and like all of that kind of stuff. So don't worry about it. Did he apologize for lying specifically?
No, that's the thing. So he was like, well, I'm really sorry that like we kind of came after you and we want you to know that we still respect you. Like,
that's a lie. That's a lie. Like I say this, like you're fucking great. Like I would be friends with you. Like you seem like you are very much like not even just on this topic, but just like you're our vibe. We're very good at reading vibes. You have our vibe, and like we hate everybody. And like I'm just telling you, like he is full of even the whole like. There's nothing I hate more. And I don't mean this at all because like this can still feel like a really great thing for you because like you did a wonderful job setting your boundary. I hate when people who you've set a boundary with reach out to you to say, thank you so much. That's a good job on setting that boundary. Great. Like, because what the fuck are you supposed to say to that? Because you're just like, okay, go me. And then but it is kind of just like this. I just want to let you know that like my opinion of you, I'm thinking highly of you. So I hope like blah, blah, blah. And like, it's just this like fucking self-righteous shit that it's also like, you've created this boundary that like, yes, you're not talking to him in person, but like he's reaching out, still not saying that he's getting vaccinated. So it's like, I'm going to cross your boundary to like talk about your boundary with you, which is not technically crossing that specific boundary that you made. But like he and your other friend, like this whole note, like they're just talking out of their asses. And like, this is something that like we literally, our last update call, we like just had was with someone who it was the same like COVID anti-vaxxing one.
She brought you up.
She did. She's like, it reminds me of this call. We're like, we're talking to her next. But like, there is something of like feeling this sense of guilt and feeling like a bad person. But I think really what it boils down to is like, there is a lot of like embarrassment that we harbor, that we have friends or people we've associated with who are like this. It's like, this is mortifying to have someone that you're like, what the fuck? Like, this is like, and like, not that I'm saying that you should feel like that there's anything wrong with you at all, but like when I have had friends who've done stupid shit like this, I'm like, whoa, or said like really sexist comments. I'm like, what have I done to make this seem like I am the audience for this? Like, what the fuck? And like, it can be hard to kind of like register with that. It feels like an innately prideful thing when it's not. This is like, nobody could have expected, maybe some people could have expected like how disgusting and selfish and like murderous so many people are, that they're like, I just want to kill people. But what he is saying has absolutely no merit and like value to it, because he's saying, we really respect you. Show me how the fuck you respected me in the past. Show me, like, it is, to me, what he's saying, not to like tell you how to live your life, but like, it is just kind of like a little too late. And like, in the words of Jojo, a little too late. And you also like haven't done anything to change this like massive thing, like flawed thing that you did and like are still participating in. And yet you still expect me to hang around and be your friend. And you're going to pat me on the head and say what a good person I am, while you're just gallivanting off being like an absolute piece of shit with legs. Like, fuck off.
And it's like, it's hard because, you know, I was like, well, I appreciate that you guys like, quote unquote, respect me and my profession. And like the fact that I'm, you know, literally going to be a scientist in training, but like,
to save the world.
Literally.
I mean, yeah, it's just like I said, I respect that. I appreciate you guys think of me like that. But until like I see you starting to act differently, like this is just going to be the same vibe. You can say all of that, but like until you really start to show me in the future that like this is how that those words are verified by actions, like I just am not going to be super involved. Like I can't be, because I just don't need to be disrespected on a daily basis all the time by my friends. Like I don't need to do that.
Respect is a verb, not a noun.
Wow. Put that on a fucking t-shirt. To me, their response is backpedaling because they are shocked and obviously that they were not able to pull this one over you. Like they are shocked that you had this response later on and that they thought that they could get away with it. But it's also so fucking perfectly timed because you're closer with this one guy, right? Specifically.
I'm kind of close with both of them equally. I would say.
But the one who lied to you, so one lied to you and then like they wait until it's 2 against 1 and you're in the middle of the fucking woods to bring that up. Tell me that's not a fucking flaccid dick move. Like, oh, I'm afraid. Like, it's like they set it up perfectly in a way that you would not. And that's also like really sketchy that it's like you would wait to tell someone that like when you're in the middle of a fucking like remote area, just you guys. Like, it's like, I'm going to purposely make a situation in which you do not feel comfortable or safe to obviously express all of this kind of stuff. And then we're going to pile it on you. Like, that to me is just like a intentional dick move and like very fucked up. And like, again, I'm not telling you how to live your life. And like, if you want to maintain like a FaceTime relationship with him, go for it. But like these people to me just sound like not only are they idiots, like they don't appreciate you and they're just kind of like blowing smoke up your ass and like saying these things that like, and like that doesn't negate any past friendship that you have and that they have like respect for you and all in these other things. But I think that like you can respect me, you can respect all X, Y, and Z. But if you cannot respect morality, like protecting other people and coming together as like an entire world to like face this thing and deal with that, then like you don't respect me, because you might respect me on a professional level, on a friendship level, but you don't respect me on a human level. And like that overrides that to me. But like, I understand, like, I mean, you had so much change in like moving and doing all of this kind, like starting all of this other stuff that like those friendship that you had for a long time and that kind of stuff, like it would be insane of me to be like, don't be friends with this person anymore, because like that's a huge thing. But I think like you setting a boundary is like the first step in, I mean, sometimes when I've set boundaries with people after a couple months, I'm like, well, nothing's changing. And like, I don't want to fucking hang out with you anymore. And it's kind of like a slow fade. So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. And like, it's hard. I mean, all of us are in such different phases of my life right now. And my friend like did point out that our friendship has been very much, because I have been friends with these guys for so long. We've grown up together, you know, went through the whole tomboy phase with like them being my friends. Like we've been such a unit that like I do feel like all of us peacock a lot to each other. And he pointed that out. He was like, that's something we all need to work on. I'm like, I agree that we need to work on like not peacocking. But like example A, let's start here, because I can't really pinpoint a time, and correct me if I'm wrong, that I have like brought something like this up in such a way that feels like I'm being set up, because what you guys did felt like I was being set up, and I don't need that in my life and around me, and I don't need that energy. So please point me to a way I've done that to you. Otherwise, like really consider it in your in navigating your relationships with your other friends, and especially women, because they are not going to appreciate that shit being thrown on them. Like what might seem like a joke to you is another person feeling like they're being self-sabotaging and made to think that they're wrong. And like, that's just not cool. And you guys are better than that too. Like I've been friends with you guys for long enough to know that like you don't need to act like this. Like I really don't know where that's coming from, but it's also just men. I don't know. Like it's also just men. So
God, I low-key hate them for you, like a lot. And by low-key, I mean high-key. This just pisses me off because you're great when an issue is brought up, like, and then them being like, well, we all do this thing that we should all stop doing. Like, it's like, fuck off. We're not talking about me. I'm perfect. I didn't do anything, you fucking idiot. Like, this is on you. But like making this like a group project that we all need to do better on and all of that kind of stuff. Like, it is just so minimizing, and like, it does suck because like when you have been friends with someone for so long, like you also expect better of them, and like you want to hold them to a higher standard because like not only do you want to be surrounded with people like that, but like you love that person and like you want to see them do like the best that they can. But I hope they have like leaps and bounds of like education and like understanding and all of that kind of stuff. But like you have so much other shit going on and all of that. Like I would, if I were you, I would like focus my energy on like friends who are really aligned with you and all of this stuff, because like they have so much learning to do that like you are not the teacher in that. That's like not your responsibility. And like they can come back around when they're ready to take the test. But like you don't have to be the one hand holding them through this kind of stuff to anyone, like especially women in general. When it comes to men, if anyone feels like they have to do that to like their partner or like their male friends or whatever, like if you feel the responsibility that if you don't do it, no one else will, those people are not fucking ready. They're not ready. Yeah. Like it should not matter. That laborious task is someone who should be paid.
Yeah. You guys are always right on the money, of course.
No, you're more measured. I would have lost my shit, and not in like an eloquent, good way. I would have been swearing, name calling. Like I would have lost my mind.
See, I would have internalized it while we were there. And then as soon as like it was time for us to depart ways, then that's when I would have went off on them. And I would have been angry and seething the whole time.
Yeah, that's what my sister told me to do. She literally told me, she was like, you should have just like went off on them like as a parting note.
Mm-hmm. Goodbye, like, everybody.
Mm-hmm. Have a blessed day.
Fuck you.
Yeah. And it's just like, it's generally just really hard, I think, too, like in the age of COVID, for people to understand that like, you know, these buzzwords of like medical freedom, personal choice, like at the end of the day, they're all thinking like, I, me. And they fail to realize that this is a public health problem. The word public is there. Your actions affect another person. It's like going to the amusement park and not putting your seatbelt on.
It's like driving drunk. It's what that is. And like, it's these things affect other people. And my whole thing is like, so many people are so loudly wrong. Just understanding about how long vaccines stay in your system, like all of these kinds of things that like people who want to get educated on it. There's a huge difference between vaccine hesitant people and anti-vaxxers. And we've had so many conversations about this. Right. But like, vaccine hesitant people are people who are like, I am hesitant about this vaccine. Let me go do this research so I can quell my worries and understand this more. So I am ready and able and prepared when I am able to get the vaccine. And anti-vaxxers have no desire to have their mind changed and any of that kind of stuff. And that is like talking to a fucking brick wall because there's no initiative behind it. The only initiative is like misinformation and disinformation, which is...
Yeah. And it's especially frustrating, like colleagues of mine that are scientists and then colleagues of mine that are medical professionals, because they're seeing these like words that are in their vocabulary, like body autonomy, medical freedom, like stuff that would pertain to, you know, signing a DNR, stuff like that, like get twisted around to fit a narrative that is just not evidence-based at all.
It literally feels like Mad Libs. Like it literally feels like Mad Libs, where I'm like, none of these things make sense in the sentence that you're using.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is a doctor, and she's just tired. Like every day I check in on her just to see how she is, because it's just like she's losing people all the time, and then like long-term patients that are anti-vaxxers. So much of it could be prevented, and then people just don't want to do it.
Yeah, people are way more stupid than I thought they were. And I didn't even go to college. And I'm like, this is embarrassing for all of you bitches.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I hope that moving forward, your life is not stressful. And like, I wish you the best of luck on school, career, all of that, PhD, dissertation. What use do you do in a PhD? I'm trying to remember. Studying.
I honestly don't even know. I don't even know yet.
Well, I think I'm very excited for you. And I hope you're coming maybe 2022 better than last year and all of that kind of stuff. But you seem like a very awesome, like great person with like, I hate to be like, oh, you got a good head on your shoulders, kid.
You really do.
Yeah, you seem to really like not only like know yourself, but like creating those boundaries and like having this kind of like bird's eye view of like your life and like bigger picture and all of that kind of stuff. And I see great things in your future. And if you ever need me to just like egg these boys' house, like do anything, like just let me know, because I totally can.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it a lot.
Of course. Well, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I hate these people. Not her. I love her.
She's great.
We talked about this off mic afterwards, that like I am so decisive and I'm like so all or nothing. I'm a big ghoster. I'm okay cutting people off. Like I'm doing all of that. I've also like, I will say like have gotten a lot better at that now. And like now, since I've set that precedent in my life, I don't like to backtrack because it's detrimental to like the progress that I've like made in my life. So I definitely can come at these things in like a very black and white way of thinking. And I understand that that is not so easy or clear cut for other people. And sometimes I also just hope that like when I come in that hot, that they're not going to obviously do everything. They're not going to get on my full team, but maybe it'll inch them a little bit closer to like give them the confidence of like, look how mad I would be. You're allowed to be.
Right.
You don't have to like suppress.
And maybe go educate yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Brandy?
Yep.
Hi. I'm 22 years old. My best friend is 23. We both use the pronouns she, her, and hers. I'm calling to confirm I'm not crazy and that this chick is jealous of me or straight up using me. We met in the 5th grade and didn't become best friends until the 11th grade. In 2016, I moved away for college and she stayed in our hometown because she couldn't afford to study. She moved out of her toxic household and now lives with an ex 25 minutes away from our hometown. I graduated during the pandemic, so my mom, dad, and I celebrated at the house. I sent her photos and she didn't respond for 2 days. She said congrats, followed by a paragraph about how me graduating was a slap to her face and how she feels bad about not going to school. When I got into my top choice of graduate school, silence once again. 3 months ago, she texts me I'm in a dark place and I need some company because her on and off boyfriend officially broke things off and is moving out. On my way to her house, she texts me that she has a small bag of laundry if we can go to the laundromat and talk while it's washing. The bag was actually huge and it took both of us to carry into my car. I also took her to her overnight shift because she didn't have money for an Uber. I spent the whole day just doing errands for her when originally I just went for support. Then a month after this, she texted me that she's upset that we haven't been hanging out. We make plans to go to her house after work. Turns out she only wanted me to go so that I can give her a ride back to town so that she can hang out with her sister and other friends. I didn't get invited to join them until we were literally 2 blocks away from her sister's crib. I obviously declined the offer. She constantly compares my relationship to hers. She says things like, at least blank shows you love and he takes you on dates and posts you. That must be nice. She also sometimes makes me uncomfortable because she makes so many comments about how my boyfriend is attractive and he's not really that cute. The tip of the iceberg was 3 weeks ago. It's important to say that I make a lot more money than her because of my degree. She asks me to borrow $100 on Tuesday for her Ubers to work and says that she'll be paying me back on Friday. Since her boyfriend is moving out, she's tighter on money than before, so I say fine. Weekend comes and she doesn't pay me back, but she posts herself going to Six Flags on Friday, out to the club on Saturday and Sunday. We had planned to go out the following Friday. When the Friday comes, she suggests that we just go to dinner near her house and drink at her house afterwards because she's broke. I ended up paying for the dinner and she didn't even have for the tip. But when we got to her house, she proceeded to show me all the things that she bought over the weekend and talk about how she had so much fun with her other friends last weekend and that they had spent over $300 on drinks and food. All in all, I think she's jealous because I have a great relationship with my parents, a loving boyfriend, and money is not really an issue for me. I have worked hard to create the life I've had, and I'm proud of it. She's walking on a different path of life, and since her boyfriend is moving out, she's going to be asking for more money and favors that she won't be able to pay back. I'm quite passive unless provoked because I'm very empathetic. I understand people are just projecting their insecurities, but your insecurities are frankly not my problem. I don't know how to distance myself without the confrontation. She is very hostile and I'm nervous to do so. Oh, and the girl won't get vaccinated because she never got sick, but I was literally in bed for 2 weeks and lost 10 pounds because of COVID, but fuck me, right?
Ma'am, you are doing the world a disservice by not being confrontational.
I know. It's all bottled up inside of her. And then it came out in this call. First of all,
my nipples are hard. I loved it.
My nipples actually are hard. And you get a sparkly diamond. I could hear you turn the paper during this.
And flip. Just know that, like, I wish the world and the people who have wronged you could see this energy face to face. And I totally understand that some people, like, you know, when you talk about with your friends, like, you talk about it so differently than you do when you're, like, faced with this. But like you could hurt her feelings so well, like just so quick.
She's a user. I feel like the same thing applies. Like sometimes dump him, dump her, dump them, dump her as a friend.
Yeah, this is like
she's not even your friend. She's using you.
Yeah, it's like you're her babysitter,
her personal assistant.
Yeah, this is just like so weird. I think like regardless of the origin of like. Sometimes like we can find it in ourselves, especially because we've been friends for so long that I get trying to be like, well, maybe she's like, I think that she's jealous of X, Y, and Z and all of that. Like, okay, it's honestly irrelevant. Like she's just like a shitty friend. And like when people are going through stuff or are like reacting a certain way and all of that, sure, I can therapize you and think why you're doing this or what the origin of this is. But unless like we are on the mend and working on it, I'm not going to use that as like a excuse for repeated behavior and like zero growth. Also because like I'm also just assuming that and like you also could just be like a shitty friend, just like a shitty person. So I think if she is like you said like really hostile and all of that, I think you just send a text message and you're like, here's the thing. I have really enjoyed our time being friends growing up. And you obviously like meant a lot to me like throughout the years. I just don't think that we are doing super great as friends as adults right now. And I haven't felt
like this friendship is being reciprocated.
Yeah. And I haven't really felt like appreciated or respected in this friendship. And I'm done putting in this time and effort when like I'm not getting anything in return and I just feel kind of used. And maybe later down the road, like we can come back together and things will change between us. But like I'm done for now.
Yeah.
And then snip. We do need to loop back. Did you say your boyfriend's not that cute? Because if so, iconic. And that is how we should humble our men every day.
Yeah. Because it sounded like you said she talks about how attractive my boyfriend is, but he's not that cute. Like, are you saying that sometimes she says he's attractive and sometimes she says that he's not attractive? But are you saying that you don't think he's that cute? Because it was great.
So iconic. And like, I choose to believe the latter because like, sure, the former makes sense. Like your boyfriend's like, imagine her saying like, I think your boyfriend's really attractive, but he's like, not that cute. Versus like, I think your boyfriend's really attractive. And then he's not that cute.
Right.
Like that is just... Men should treat us like queens, and this is how we should keep them in line. We should be like, you're not that cute. Like, you're not that hot shit. What was the other one you want to loop back to?
She went to the club on a Sunday.
Oh my God. What a loser.
Who goes to the club on Sunday?
What a fucking loser. What a loser. Maybe it was a 3-day weekend, but even so.
Maybe it's like, you know, what's the gay bar that everybody goes to?
The Abbey?
The Abbey.
The Abbey is canceled.
I know, but if they had like a brunch situation.
Oh, like drag brunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the only way that I would say maybe. But like if she like Sunday night, 11 p.m., she has her club clothes on.
Fucking platforms. It better have been a day club. You go out at the club on I didn't even know they were open on Sunday nights. That's insane to me. Yeah. This is just like not a friendship. And I think this is just like, you know, you've been friends with someone for so long, it just becomes like a habit. And that's what this is. Like this, like your relationship with her is just like habitual and like a reflex.
She really puts the bitch in habitual.
Facts. That was good. Yeah. Cut her off. And then also after, this is what we always do when we talk about like, if you're going to send something before ghosting, you send that message and then you either block them or you like delete their phone number, like mute them on social, block them on social, do all of that stuff. Like don't wait for a response and don't invite it to be a conversation because like you said she's hostile specifically and like there's no point. She's just going to try and hurt your feelings. And so make sure that your text message doesn't have, she will still find a response and like she will still respond, but make sure there is no like questions that need to be left answered or anything like that. Have it be like the beginning, middle, and end of everything you have to say. And then you don't have to respond moving forward.
Yep. I can't believe she asked her for $100 and went to Six Flags.
Fuck these people. Club on a Sunday? What do you wear? Like an Easter brunch dress? Like fucking Reformation?
Church ready. Like you go from church.
You definitely wear a wedge.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we get on to the next?
Why not?
Take a crazy chance.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I am 21 years old and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm going to be asking advice about my boyfriend who's 23 years old and uses he, him pronouns. We've been dating for a year and a half and I love him a lot. We have a really, really good relationship. We're very different, but we make it work. He's really, really, really smart, like book smart, and I am not. And he's super into politics. He's taught me a lot during our relationship, and because of him.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
I'm much more aware and educated on political issues, which I'm super, super grateful for. However, I hate debating and he loves it. He's also just a very confrontational person in nature, and I am not. It makes me very anxious to my core. And he always tries to debate with me about every political issue. Anytime we disagree, I get really frustrated with him. And because I love him, I don't want to be mad at him. So I tell him we'll agree to disagree because I hate debating. And he gets frustrated whenever I give him that response. We got into a fight about it last night because he tried to debate with me about something. And I immediately was like, I hate debating. I always tell you I hate debating and you never listen to me. And he was like, well, it's something I like to do and I want to have intellectual conversations with you. And we always do what you want to do and never what I want to do and blah, 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 blah. And I guess my question is, am I the asshole for not wanting to debate with my boyfriend? Because I feel like it's pretty blatant that that's like not normal. Like, it's not normal for couples to debate, but I don't know if I should just humor him or whatever because it's, like, important to him, but it genuinely makes me uncomfortable. Also, we're both liberal. Just figured I should mention that. So, yeah, thanks, guys. I love you. I'm a long-time listener, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you for finally including that you were liberal. The whole time we were like, whose side? So that makes a huge difference. And because of that, I find this not problematic, but just so fucking annoying. And some people do really like this. Like, I've had friends who've dated guys who like live to debate and like they are also
and there's girls that are very much into it too.
Yeah. And like that is like definitely like him wanting that in a relationship is totally valid. And it is something a lot of people are like I want someone to call me out my bullshit. I want somebody to tell me when I'm blah, blah, blah. Like I want to be able to like have debates and those kinds of conversations with people. I know it sounds like it's not a huge thing, but like that is a really big thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't be with someone who like really loves to debate.
It makes you combative. Like if you're both not into it, it makes you combative. Feelings can get hurt. Some people just like to argue, but like if you're not into it, you're not into it because you're just going to get mad and frustrated. And I'm sure that's not what he wants.
Yeah.
He said that he wants someone that he can have intellectual discussions with. You can have conversations, but you don't have to be combative and debate over them.
That also kind of felt like a read. Like that was a little, I would have been insulted if he said that to me. The only way you can have an intellectual conversation with me is you, not to like put words in your mouth, but like essentially mansplaining something to me, or like, because that's the thing that like you don't want to debate. And when you take away two consenting active participants in a debate and it's one dude, it's turned into kind of like mansplaining his opinion to you. And I would have been offended by like, we don't have any other, like this is the only way that we can have intellectual conversation because you are the one dominating it.
Yeah.
Because you think you're smarter than me.
Well, she said that he taught her about politics and helped her open her eyes to some things. So it's like he's trying to fight with you over things, but now he's fighting to teach you.
Yeah. He's like teaching you a lesson. Like, and like you said, like this shouldn't be working for him because it's not working for you. And that's an issue. Like if this is still like scratching that debate itch, I'm like, maybe you're not into someone you can debate with. Maybe you're into like mansplaining. Like maybe you're into that. Maybe you're into dominating conversation regardless of who gets caught in the crossfire. Like, and you're okay with hurting feelings and like causing turmoil at the sake of like, well, I like this. So who cares how you feel?
Right.
So I think it sounds like a trivial thing, but I think that you have to have like a sit down conversation with him and be like, okay, we have been going back and forth on this for a really long time. And I've said over and over and over again that like, I really don't like debating. And it feels like he keeps being brought up. And this is something that like, I'm not budging on. I really don't like it. It like feels really hostile, regardless of what your intentions are, regardless of how lighthearted you find this. That's not how it is to me. And if that is something that you need in a relationship, like this is not the relationship for you. And I'm not going to budge on that. I like having intellectual conversations too. I like being able to talk about like what we read in the news today. I like being able to talk about that kind of stuff, but like I hate debating.
If he wants to debate, go join an adult debate club.
I don't like I already said, that comment about like I want to have intellectually like, stimulating conversations with you and making him being like, I'm the only way we can do that. But I also don't like how he's like, it's just like kind of like a whiny bitch, like a whiny thing afterwards. Like, well, we never do things that we always do what you want to do, never what I want to do. And it's like,
are you doing things that make you uncomfortable?
Yeah. Like, let me, in that situation, I would be like, please let me know. I would never want you to feel the way that I feel when we're debating with another activity that we do. So like, can you let me know what that is?
Yeah.
But like, but anyone like throws like, well, Uno reverse, it's what you do that I don't like. I'm like, does not help at all.
Yeah.
It negates that argument at all because you're only using it to try and get out of my hurt feelings for something else.
Tell him to go join Toastmasters. That is adult debate club.
Yeah. I mean, and I also think that like for him, you guys are on the same side of politics.
He's playing devil's advocate. That's what he's doing. Like, because usually in a debate, you take the side that you are against because then you know what the other person's going to come back.
Yeah. I just think that like the origin of this, of like, he's really been able to teach you a lot about stuff and like made you like just more aware of these things. Like, that's great. He should be leaving it at that. But like, it doesn't seem like that was enough. So creating that like firm, it's not an ultimatum. It's just like, this is what I cannot give you this. If you need that, this is not the relationship for you. And just be like, if you need some time to think about it, I don't know if you guys live together or whatever, but if you're like, if you need some time to think about it, how about like, let's meet up in a week and we can talk, or meet up in a couple days or something like that. You already have been creating this boundary that he's repeatedly been stepping on over. And now that someone's done that, it's like, okay, this is where we're at. And this is where I'm at. Done.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
So, Mott's and I are the exact opposite. Like if we were talking about something today, it wasn't even a debate, but I said something and he goes, oh, no, we're not getting off on that exit. Go back, get off that ramp, go back. And he's like, back on the freeway, moving on. And like very much like there's no point because we're also both like really, really stubborn. And it's not fun for either of us because neither of us can win. That's the other debate thing that I'm like, someone always has to win. I don't get it. Okay, we're going to take a quick break and we will be right back. We are back from the break. We're going to get into the rest of the calls.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. So I'm calling in about a tricky situation. I'm a female pronoun she, her, and the male in the situation is my friends with benefits from last year, pronoun he, him. And him and I began our friends with benefits situation before the pandemic. Then our university kind of evacuated everyone, sent everyone home for the pandemic. And the following semester, him and I both lived alone separately, and we both were distant. We socially distanced for everyone. And I'm sure he'll judge the situation, but we did hook up for the entire year and we were pretty safe with COVID. Now we're both vaccinated. This past February is when we stopped hooking up, and he was rushing a fraternity and I was talking to someone, as was he. So we both sort of faded away from each other. Now we're talking again, and I'm a little bit nervous about where this is going because the fraternity that he's joined has had a lot of allegations with sexual assault on campus. So much so that their chapter is no longer instated at my university. The house that they live in is like the biggest one on campus, and it still is standing because it's kind of the biggest frat in the country, and they have a lot of sponsors. It's still here, and they're working on getting it reinstated, actually. And I'm a little bit nervous because I don't know where this relationship would go, and I feel like the next natural step is for us to date. And I'm just not sure about like how that would look for me. Like, as a feminist, would this be okay to date somebody that's in this fraternity that has so many allegations against them? I'm not saying he has done anything. He's a new brother. The brothers that had allegations against them have since graduated. But then again, like, he's just associated with the place. And of course, I don't want to say like he hasn't done anything, because as much as I believe he hasn't, I know that there are men out there. So many people would argue for them. I know their character. Like, they wouldn't do that, like whatever they would say to defend these men. But of course, you never know who's a predator, and nobody can really, you never know people as well as you think that you do. So I don't know. I'm probably messing this up. I hope that it's making sense. But like, I don't want to defend him, but I do want to like say that I don't think he's like that. I know it sounds like I'm defending him, but I wouldn't put it past him, if you know what I mean. So like, I feel like I'm talking too much and maybe not making sense, but I'm just looking for advice here on like what you think I should do. If I should date this guy who's in this fraternity, and what that's going to look like for me, what my family would say, like what my friends would say, and if it's really worth it in the long run. And I just don't know what to do. I know it sounds like I'm concerned about image, and I kind of am, but there's just like a lot to it, and the environment he's in, and I just don't know. So any advice you can give me, I would appreciate. Love the podcast. Bye.
The thing that made me crank my neck was I wouldn't put it past him to be a predator. If you wouldn't put it past him, then why is this even up for discussion?
Yeah. Did you have any fraternities like this on your campus that were like illegally, because it's illegal recruitment. Like they're not allowed to be recruiting any new members, especially like from what you're saying, like it sounds like their chapter has been revoked.
Yeah. Like the person that was over the faculty member that was over Greek life.
Yeah.
Paris, what's up? She's such a like very by the rules. If she found out about something like that, it'd be shut down immediately.
Every school should have one of those people. Yeah. So we had this at my school a lot. Specific one that comes to mind that was charter. I'm pretty sure their full charter was revoked, or it was very close to it. Very much similar situation to this was SAE. And I, at the time, an active member of a sorority, SAE was like, no, they're bad. But we had Fiji. And part of me wonders if I mean, if anybody has not looked into, and like massive trigger warning, I'm not going to talk about it here, but if you want to look into the University of Nebraska, Lincoln, the stuff that's happening with the Fiji house is horrendous and sadly incredibly common. And part of my huge issue with IFC and national stuff is that these things get buried under an organization that is not even there and has an image to protect, and it's not members and not people or anyone in general. I mean, they're protecting their image and like their members. So Fiji at my school was not allowed to recruit. They were kicked off for repeatedly roofing people. There was this like weird thing about girls were like, oh, they're still like really hot and they're like really cool, like blah, blah, blah. And like, I was kind of brainwashed into that. Like I was definitely sketched out always. And like, they were not who I really wanted to hang out with or spend time with. But all of that to say, I did not know anyone or was friends with anyone who then went out of their way to rush and pledge one of the fraternities that had been, whether temporarily or permanently, kicked off of our campus for similar things. And there is a reason why you rush. And like, so similarly to your sorority experience, like fraternities, IFC fraternities, you pick one and it's one. Mm-hmm. It's not like recruitment when you are going through a Pan-Hellenic sorority where you meet 9 and like it's a matching kind of thing. Like you either get, you get recruited, they're trying to get you in and or you are also trying to get into that fraternity. Choosing to be associated with a fraternity who has a horrible history like that, especially on your campus, it's an active choice. And it's a public one. Fraternities everywhere have had sexual assault cases that have been buried or people don't know or blah, blah, blah. But not all of them have been forward facing and people know. And so choosing that in spite and knowing what people are going to say, that is not a good person. Mm-hmm. You don't join that. You don't want to be associated with that. Like if you think about it in this way, these are a group of new people, whether he knew some before or whatever, but like, you are actively, as a man, choosing to associate yourself with a group of men who at this school historically have been caught for sexual assault.
Mm-hmm. And that's what he wants to be a part of.
That's what he wants to be a part of. And that's what he wants other people to know that he is a part of. You are going out about this in a really logical way. And I want to applaud you for that because like, as you're saying, I don't see that. You're like, I don't necessarily see that as him, but also like, as often as we know victims of sexual assault, we probably also know rapists. Like there's no way that those numbers just don't add up in that way. And like, I think it's great that you can recognize that like, as much as you're trying to not defend him, I don't think you're trying to defend him. I think that you have feelings for him and you're trying to like justify the reasons why he would join this fraternity. But like, there is no good reason. Like, think about it that way. Like if he's like, well, I really like these guys. And it's like, well, they've done these horrible things. And like, you're also giving money to this organization that is doing this, or it's also a legal rush. And again, like, I can't even stress, like, you can't rush like, that's like very bad. Like, you're not supposed to do that. And like, the charter can get in even more trouble. And the reason why they're off campus is because of this thing that is not what you want to be associated with. Like, for future employers, like any of that kind of stuff. Like, it is, you know, as so many straight dudes say, their worst nightmare is being accused of sexual assault. And it's like, so why are you going to go join a group of men who have been already accused and have faced the repercussions of that if you do not fit into that mold?
Right.
Worst case scenario, he is also a predator. Best case scenario.
Which you said you wouldn't put it past him. That's what I cannot get past.
Yeah. But then best case scenario, he defends sexual predators and he justifies it. And he says the not all men argument. They're good guys. It's like the kind of person who defends like Brock Turner. And like, you know what I mean? Like, there is no good option in which this happens because he can be friends with shitty fucking people and not be a part of that organization. You know? He just wants everybody to know. It's a hard pass. This is a hard pass. And if you also haven't looked into the stuff that happened at Nebraska, if you are at Nebraska and this is Fiji, no. No. But yeah, if you haven't looked into that, I would. I think it'll open your eyes to how IFC fraternities have very much police force energy. Like, sure, maybe it's not every single person in there, but it's enough and nobody is speaking up. And that's how these things keep happening over and over and over again.
One bad apple spoils the bunch.
Mm-hmm. And let's be honest, there are majority of fraternities, like, you have a lot of bad apples. And it becomes the whole frat. Like, I can't stress this enough for people who aren't in the Greek system. Like, when I was in college, SIGEP, I loved SIGEP. There was not a guy in SIGEP I didn't like. I loved them. They were great. Phi Psi, maybe liked one. Didn't really like them. They did a bunch of coke at parties. Like, I either liked the entire frat or I did not like the entire frat. Like, there was no, like, they become like clones of each other. Like, you become who you're surrounded with, and like having a reputation of being that. Like, I wouldn't want to hang out with these kinds of people because like that's not my vibe. But I find out you're in this fraternity that I really get along with. Like, great, awesome. Like, there are still bad people and good people everywhere, but like as a whole, it becomes such a hive mind kind of thing that like that's also what they're rushed based on their ID, all of that kind of shit. Nah. It's definitely Pike or Fiji. Please let us know which it is, because that's who my money's on. Is that who yours on?
Yeah.
Those are always the rapey ones.
All right. Now time for the last call.
Hi, Megan and Melissa. I love the podcast and could really use some advice on basically just how to deal with this situation. I'm struggling. I'm in Australia, and as far as I know, everyone has been following COVID safe guidelines. I'm booked in for my vaccine. My mom's are both fully vaccinated as of a couple months ago. I just turned 24, my mom's 48, her wife's 38, and we all use she, her pronouns. My mom raised me on her own, although she's had some relationships in the past. It was never as complicated as this. Her and her wife have been together for about 10 years, married for 3 of those. They've bought a house, they've had 2 kids with IVF. My mom stopped working to look after them. She does pretty much everything related to the kids and look after the house and all of that stuff. My siblings are 5 and 8. I still live with them since I'm saving to buy a place with my boyfriend. Majority of this I've learned through my mom. Also, their relationship is non-monogamous. The agreement is that it's a free pass on one-night stands, but anything more than that is not okay. So May this year, my stepmom says she's flirting with a woman, but my mom quickly figures out it's more than that. Several hour phone calls multiple times a week, freaking out that she's been lying about where she's been. Side note, lying about where you are, I feel is extra shady during a pandemic when my mom and siblings all have different respiratory related health issues. She's on the phone to this woman instead of making the kids dinner, but one night a week my mom goes for an evening walk. So it's affecting their relationship and their parenting. Not that I think my stepmom's a great parent anyway. I think she's a very self-centered person, but I don't have time to go into that. So basically my mom tells her she needs to end it. My mom's been cheated on before and it's a deal breaker for her. My stepmom says it's fine, it's done, and then flash forward to a few weeks ago, my mom gets a gut feeling, opens the Find My iPhone to see that my stepmom isn't at baseball where she said she'd be, but in this woman's suburb. My mom confronts her the next day, and my stepmom lies to my mom's face multiple times before finally telling her where she was, and then tries to gaslight my mom and blame her lying on my mom. So my mom says it's over. To top it off, not only is my stepmom this other woman's baseball coach, this woman is a 22-year-old international student with no prior sexual experience. And when my mom brought up how gross that was, that she's dating someone younger than me and closer in age to her son, then to her, my stepmom's response was that she's really mature for her age. Gross. So now my stepmom's staying with her parents. I'm staying out with my boyfriend since I really don't want to talk or look at my stepmom at the moment. My mom's in therapy. She's booked a therapist for the kids and given me resources to find a local one for myself. We've also been in lockdown the past couple of weeks, and that's probably going to continue for a while. I'm still really mad and angry that my stepmom couldn't just have a conversation with my mom and tell her that it wasn't working so that they could work out what's best for the kids. But at the moment, my mom's the only one doing that. Any advice you could give would be very much appreciated. Also, my mom's very much an Aquarius, my stepmom's a Pisces, and I'm a Virgo.
I want to give your mom a hug. And you. I think that you're looking to do something.
Mm-hmm. There's really nothing you can do.
No, this is one of those things that, like, you know, when you're like so mad, you're like, I want to punch you. This is the time that like you take a boxing class. Like, this is the time that like you get that like aggression out in a physical sense, like through going on a run, like doing something like that, because it feels like right now you just like need to tell her off and need to do all of that. But like, it sucks because you can't, because that's still like your sibling's mom. And I mean, I would definitely recommend therapy and all of that. I think it's great that your mom's in therapy. I think it sucks that you, despite the fact that you are an adult, like you are having to like watch your mom go through this and like hear all of this kind of stuff that is still hard to process. I don't want to say like I'm playing devil's advocate because I'm not, because again, doesn't need an advocate, but maybe she went about this in a really immature and hurtful way. Your mom has 2 wonderful kids out of it. You have 2 siblings out of this. And maybe this will be the shakeup in her life that she...
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all. I'm JJ.
Hey, guys. It's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
He needs to learn to be a more present and better parent, and will be a much better parent now that she's co-parenting. Like there could be...
Do you really think that?
No, but I'm saying like at the end, like it's when you're going through this stuff, when you can't outwardly hate her, sometimes I think like if you need to lie to yourself a little bit to get through the day so you're not making it harder for your mom, unless your mom wants to like bitch about her and all of that stuff. But like I'm okay with like lying to yourself a little bit to get through the day and like to pretend it was for the best or anything like that. But at the same time, like I don't know what you can do because you can't tell her off unless your mom is okay with that. And like,
no, I don't think that.
I think that's messy and like not productive or helpful for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just one of those situations that's just shit.
Yeah, I think you be there for your mom, you be there for your siblings. You don't have to physically be there. If you physically being there is going to piss you off and make an uncomfortable situation, because I'm sure you're hiding things from your younger siblings. They don't know completely what's going on. But just support them, because I mean, clearly you're over it, and you have been for a while, because you know that this has been going on for a while. But your stepmom's gross. She's a predator.
Yeah, there's nothing more of a red flag than when it's like they're really mature for. Ugh, it's so gross.
And the fact, how do you guys even know that she wasn't sexually experienced before?
Yeah.
That makes it. Ugh.
Yeah, it's just not. It's not a good situation, but. I think it's hard, and like the kids will come to their own conclusions about their mom. They're still pretty young. Hopefully she steps it up in the parenting department, and
she can't even step up one day a week. I'm just over this woman.
I know. I don't know if co-parenting is like the
best thing for them either.
Yeah. Well, that's what I also say. Like, I think like I obviously don't know how the court systems and divorce and all of that stuff works there, but like I think a lot of the time we put huge emphasis on like the Kodak nuclear family, all of that, but specifically a 2-parent household. And I can tell you, like, it is so irrelevant. A 2-parent household that is like 2 functioning parents, or even if it's like a 2-parent household where it's like co-parenting and all of that, the best thing you can do for your kids is have responsible and loving and doting parents. And if that is parent, that is better than sacrificing that.
I just can't get over like her one day a week that
she takes a walk.
Yeah, that's like, oh, but she couldn't even do that because stepmom's out being a creep.
Well, to me, it doesn't sound like your mom, if your mom needs permission to be like, fuck you, I'm taking the kids, you don't do shit, like she should fully do that. But if she wants to like try and remain as civil as possible, I think the best thing that you can do is be there for her, but then be like, hey, I know you're in therapy, but let's keep the line of communication open, because I think this is a wonderful pipe dream. I don't know if we can make it a reality. And I think if we can't make it the dream, we're not going to settle. I think that like then the settling is going to be settling for us. And these kids are never going to feel neglected a day in their life. They're never going to feel any of those kinds of things. But I think like, who knows what your mom wants? It might change what she like wants. Cause I think like we all have that like image of like dream of what you want it to be. But yeah, she also doesn't seem like she really wants to be a mom.
She doesn't want to be part of the family.
When you hook up with someone that much younger than you want to be a teenager again. You don't want to be a mom. You don't want to be a parent. You don't want to have responsibilities of young kids. You think that you are a young kid. And that's no.
I'm just angry.
Me too. Ugh.
All right.
Okay. Don't blame them. This is where listeners call in with their own advice from previous episodes. I didn't know what word I was saying. So if they listened to an episode and they were like, this sounds something like I've been through, I have thrown my own 2 cents, anything, any of their own opinions, they can call in. So what do we have?
Hey, Megan and Melissa. I'm calling in for Don't Blame Them for season 8, episode 12, where the girl said her friend was copying her. Like, it went from just, like, copying, like, clothes to, like, actually getting an identical apartment, which I find crazy. But I just want to say, I didn't have a personal experience with this, but my friend had a friend who did the exact same thing. And so I was always the friend that was vented to in this case. So I know all about it. And I always told her, I'm like, you really just need to ditch her. Like, I understand you want to make this friendship work. Like, you were on the same page and everything, and you wanted to see the best in it, but it's not the best anymore. You really need to ditch it because everything that she is saying is coming out of a place of, like, jealousy and insecurity. So, like, when she was saying that it was a fuck me skirt, what she was really saying is, oh, I wouldn't look as good as you in that skirt, so I'm feeling insecure. I don't think I would look as good as you in that skirt, so I'm feeling insecure. But now I'm going to take you down a notch. So when I eventually do go and get this skirt, it'll make me seem better. It'll make me feel better. It was all a point of, like, jealousy and insecurity. And, like, the fact that she even got an identical apartment, a little creepy. It's taken it a little bit too far. I definitely agree, like, with Megan and Melissa when they said that was really stalkery and creepy. But, yeah. I know you want to make it work out, but it's not going to work out. And you'll be doing yourself so many favors by just sort of being like, maybe fading out the friendship, maybe giving yourself a little distance, but really just cut it off. What I would do is just cut all ties. By the way, I'm 22 and I'm literally the same age as you. I've seen the same things, and best thing you can do is just cut it off. She is not in the proper headspace to be dealing with a friend like you right now. She needs to take some time, figure this all out, because that's all jealousy and insecurity. And maybe you can even have that conversation with her if you really want to keep the friendship. But the fact that there was the apartment thing, a little weird. So, yeah, just cut it off. But thanks, guys. Bye.
I agree with it all.
Except for calling her crazy.
Oh, yeah. I totally missed that. I was eating an almond. I just think that, like, I'm all for putting work into friendships and all that stuff. But, like, I just feel like we are giving people so many chances, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I used to give people more chances, but in my old age now, I don't have time for that.
I'm trying to think of, like, since the last fight I got into with a friend that's like a real fight, it was Sydney and I when we were like 21. Middle school, me and Ivy would fight because we were like sisters, and I would just yell at her for like stealing my shirt. But like we never gotten like a real, like we would like bicker and stuff, but like we're still friends. Like Sydney and I got in one, like literally Sydney and I have been in 2 fights our entire life. I think it is kind of like once you raise the standard for the people in your life, you just have a way lower tolerance for bullshit. And I think in general, like most of this did come in my life when I like cut people out and created like really big boundaries for myself. Before then, I definitely had lots of like shitty friends and all of that. But like once you make that big boundary in your life, if you start letting it creep over, it'll happen all over again. Fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Creepy.
But I just want to emphasize, we don't call people crazy.
No. You can self-identify as crazy. You don't call other people crazy. We also don't really call other women crazy, specifically. I'm also more okay with calling someone psycho.
I'm not okay with that either.
It's not any better, but like I think that there's less historically, there's the same connotation.
Yeah.
But there's less like socially that connotation. Crazy is like,
I don't like either.
Well, because they both come from bad terms. But I hope that situation is turning out okay. Would love to get an update on that. Well, that is it for our episode. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, go leave us a review on the podcast app. Get there before Rachel does and all of the anti-vaxxers. My book comes out September 28th on paperback. Please pre-order it. It can help with the numbers, and it's great. It's got a whole new cover that I worked on so hard, and all of my friends gave input, and it's really cute, and I'm excited. And if you want to call in for an upcoming episode, you can leave us a voicemail 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com. All of the same rules and requests apply that I said at the start. We are on Patreon, videos, all of the video versions of the podcast. If you want to see our facial expressions, which are pretty great. And if you just prefer watching your podcasts.
We have some good faces.
We do. They're cute, and then they're shocked, and then they're surprised, and then they're aghast, and lots of eye rolls. I would say the last 2 episodes have been like some good faces. So it's only $1 a month for the video version. And then if you want to hop into our Zooms, we do twice a month. It's literally like a Zoom you would do hanging out with your friends. We do. And it's $5 a month for that tier. And it's like a really great community of people. If you're like moving to a new city, or you are, you know, in an area that is like a very strict lockdown. We had a lot of Australians who were like, I haven't left my house. This is so great. We have social interaction. It's really fun. And follow us everywhere. Anything you want to promote?
Follow me on Instagram. She is not Melissa.
Woo, woo. And we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts and Diamond Imprint Productions. Edited by Coco Lawrence. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson. Music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Contained herein are the heresies of Radolf Buntwine, erstwhile monk turned traveling medical investigator. Join me as I study the secrets of the divine plagues and uncover the blasphemous truth that ours is not a loving God, and we are not its favored children. The heresies of Radolf Buntwine, wherever podcasts are available.